Hey guys, what's up? Eddie Yahoo here with KissAnalog.com. Alright, so today we're here in the lab with Aiyima and we have the A07 Max. Pretty cool. It says it's 2x300 watt. So we're going to look into all these specs, okay? And we're going to test a bunch of them. And we're going to start doing this. I have a number of amps that we're going to go through. And we're going to just start this whole series of videos where I'm going to try to do some really deep dive testing, okay? I also have this Aiyima back here, the little preamp, but we'll hold that one off for now, okay? This video, we're going to focus on this guy, all right? So let's take a look at the specs on this. And also, let's look what they say, and let's look what the improvements are, because it's the Max. It's the Max version. The A07 did really well, and the Max has been, really popular as well. So let's look at some of the upgrades that they've done, okay? Hey guys, I just want to jump in for just a moment. You can see, besides this amplifier, I've got a bunch here, and this is just like a portion of the amps. I actually have a bunch of amps around here, some big ones that won't fit on my bench stacked up here, but yeah, so I've got a whole series of amps. I'm going to try to do at least one of these a week. I'm going to try to do a power supply video each week with my Tech Talk Fridays. So those are 3 videos I'm going to try to get out each week. Power supply one of these, and mix in some other things. So I've got to get some Q-Spice tutorials. I'm going to still do microcap tutorials, so I've got a lot of videos I have planned. I want to do another follow-up review on these power supplies and some of this other equipment, like this guy and this guy that I have. And so there's lots of things that I need to review that people have sent me. Some of these I bought, some I've been given to review. So, oh shoot, see, here's another one, acrylic. Well, I call it acrylic. It's Arlic or whatever. I did a box opening on this B50 amp. I want to compare it with these. All right, so here is the format I think I'm going to do. I'm going to do a box opening. I've done it on this one. I'm doing the one today. And then I'm going to follow up with a performance review where I'm going to look at the THD, the Boldy plot, and I've got some other things. I've got some nice equipment. I have a new quantum. Anyway, I've got some nice test gear. So I want to run these through the paces. And the video would be too long if I try to combine the video I've done today, for instance, on the box opening of this Aiyima, as well as all the tests. And I'm going to figure out a way I can do the tests without making them too laborious and too long. So give me ideas on that. If you like to watch all the test graphs, or you just want me to speed it through and give you the, like the what's up, like how did it do kind of thing. So yeah, let me know in the comments, okay? All right, let's get back to this video. All right, guys, I'm just going to kind of point out some features here, okay? So we're at the Aiyima website here. It's $102 on sale right now. It's a little bit less down on Amazon, so use the links down below. Appreciate it. That helps the channel a lot. It's for free. Doesn't cost you anything. All right, so here's some of the main specs right here, okay? 1 volt input sensitivity. That's nice. 110 dB of input sensitivity. Okay, now the distortion says 0.007%. You can't hear anywhere near that, so that's like way good. But anyway, frequency response 20 kilohertz, and that's within plus minus 1 dB. And you can see the power. The bridge tied load is 600 watts into 2 ohms. That's a very max you can get in mono mode. Well, it's in bridge tied, and that's with the 48 volt 12 amp power supply. Okay, now the one that, we'll look at the power supply that comes with it. Okay, now here's a curve right here, guy, the frequency response. This shows it's very flat, right around 10 kilohertz. Well, 5 kilohertz, it kind of breaks away from the 0 degree line. So about right around 4 or 5 kilohertz, it starts breaking away from the 0 dB line, and then it drops down to about not even 1 dB at 20 kilohertz. So that's pretty darn flat. And we see that with these Class D amps. So we're kind to expect it. But on the low frequency end, it's also flat. So that's very nice. Now that's at 20 hertz. That's really cool. We'll see if we can go down a little bit lower than that. Okay, now here's the FFT curve. Okay, now what it's showing is all the frequencies from close to 0 all the way to 24 kilohertz. Okay, and that line is right around 110, 105 dB. So that's the noise floor. And there's just one spike, the signal they're injecting, and that's at 1 kilohertz. So, wow. And it's just a little over 0 dB where they're injecting that. So they're probably aiming for 0, but anyway, so that's very impressive, right? Okay, we'll check that too. We'll test that as well. All right, so here's a table that's really important. And the power supplies are on the left, all the different variations you can get. Now, I believe in this box, we're going to see the 48 volt 5 amp. So it shows that those are the power levels you can get. But I'm going to show, just mathematically it doesn't work with the power supply, okay? So not for, now, maybe a peak power or something, but normally you're looking at this as a nominal power. So this is kind of a common thing. It's not just Aiyima that kind of exaggerates these numbers. It's kind of, and I'm not sure how, because it says output power. It doesn't say, is it a burst, or maybe it's a burst power. But for constant power, these numbers don't quite work, okay? They're still very impressive what you get with this amplifier, no doubt, but these numbers don't quite match. So we'll test, and I'll show you the right numbers, okay? And we'll mathematically calculate it too, and that'll be pretty easy. I just want to show you some of the connection options. You can hook it up in stereo mode. If you have 2 speakers and you have left and right input, you just use a kind of normal stereo mode, right? But what if you're just powering 1 speaker? Well, you can put this thing in mono mode, and it'll use both amps to put out a little more power in the 1 speaker, and that's the mono mode connection, okay? So there's a switch on the bottom that says, please switch to correct switch. So you make the switch, and you connect to the 2 jacks, the 2 banana jacks on top. They're labeled mono, plus and minus, okay? And then RCA plugs, you can see where they plug in. And you have this auxiliary output, which, let's come down here. You can use that in a setup like this. Okay, so if in this bridge tied mode, you can connect, the top one like that mono situation, right? And then you can come down from the auxiliary output, let's say, into the 2 channels of this bottom amp, and then hook the 2 speakers up like that. So different types of ways you can connect this thing up. Okay, this is the mono channel stereo mode. So you need 2 amplifiers to do this, and left channel goes into one of these guys that's tied into a mono mode, and then the right one, the right channel of the preamp would come out and go to the left side of another one of these. So you could have 2 of these amps, which are really small. So if you just want high power, that's a nice way to do it. All right, guys, so this is one of the big improvements they made. They've put holes in the unit. You can see the ones here on the bottom and the ones on the sides for heat to have some airflow. With airflow, it helps tremendously to get heat out, okay? So that's a big improvement. And what does it do? Yeah, it's possible you can get some dust in it, but if you want to get the heat out, this is the way to do it, okay? This is a great way to do it. All right, so this picture shows where the switch is, stereo mono, okay? Just wanted to point that out, make it real easy. I'm going to show you on the unit, but I'm just, showing this picture because it's done nicely. All right, another thing we're going to check out is they say they've put all these high, quality components in it, right? So it's got Aiyima capacitors. They're German-made capacitors. They're the red ones. They're 1 microfarad, 63 volt caps. I've used these a lot. These are really nice capacitors. So And right behind that, that black box, it looks like a relay. So there's probably a switch to turn on and off the speakers or something, maybe speaker protection. Not sure. We'll look into this and see what that is. There's a Nichicon capacitor. It's 63 volts as well, and 2200 microfarads. Well, if you're putting 48 volts in, 63 volt caps are really nice. So that's a nice touch. And then looking down here at the bottom left, you see the TI-364 chip. I think it's the 5430. That's I believe that's a voltage regulator. It's a buck regulator, so it looks like it's for regulating some preamplifier circuitry is what my guess is. So we'll check into that, okay? And then over in the right corner, you see the two big inductors. Those are nice inductors. It's part of the filtering of those with those other capacitors to filter out the Class D stuff. So gives you a nice clean output. All right, guys, and then here's the claim to fame. A lot of people love this TPA 3255 amp. So this is where the 0.007% comes in. The really high signal to noise ratio, that's what that SNR means. But yeah, look at that chip. So lots of pins on that chip. It's a big chip. And I think we're going to see it on a heat sink or something inside here. So, all right, let's go ahead and open up the box. Well, here, maybe I'll just show you around the box first. Just sometimes people like to see the box. All right, that's about it. All right, guys, so you can see how the foam's protecting it, right? It's protected very well. And then what do we have? We have a little quality card, a little pamphlet probably showing all the connections and all that stuff. Oh, yeah, it's showing all the stuff that I've kind of showed you. Okay, here's a power table and all that. So, all right, there you go. So you'll know how to connect it. And then we have the unit itself, but let's look at, okay, that's the power supply cord from the AC to the unit here. Okay, guys, so it says 48 volts, 5 amps. So there we go, 240 watts. That's the max you can get out of this. So, you know, max would be 120 watts per channel, right? Steady state. Now, there's some things that change that a little bit. We're going to show you that. Look how small this is. This is amazing. There's your switch, and you have to get down inside there so you can't accidentally slide it and switch it. It's kind of stuck down there. So if I turn it, you can't see the bottom of the switch. So, okay, we've got holes on the bottom sides. Top doesn't have any holes, so you don't have to worry about dust just landing on it. But yeah, so here's your 24 volt, 48 volt input, your RCA jacks, kind of gold plated, right? And then your banana jacks that are also twist out so you can look and see if they have holes. Yes, they do. So there's a hole in there. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. So you can stick the wire in the hole. And also, by the way, it comes all the way off. Sometimes they don't, and it's nice when they do. But anyway, because sometimes you want to put the ring terminals over it and then tighten it down. So yeah, so you have all the different ways to connect, and I think these are gold plated inside as well. So there you go, your aux output. So if you want to run a subwoofer, some other device, you know, you've seen some of the connection pictures in the drawing, right? So there we go. And okay, so it's a on-off right there at the bottom. There's no indents. It's just a nice smooth glide all the way across. So it feels like a nice switch. It has just enough tension, you know, on it. It's not real loose, not real stiff. Looks like there might be LEDs here and here, mono and stereo. So, all right, we'll have to power this thing up. All right, guys, so if you've seen any other reviews, if you've been around, if you've been on planet Earth, you've heard good things about this one, right? Let me know what things you have heard that are not so good. I want to run these through the paces, through the tests, to see how good they really are, the noise performance, and I want to test them in ways that maybe other people haven't tested yet. I'm trying to come up with ideas and ways to really, you know, to really get the comparison of the amps to see why some amps, even though they test good, they have low distortion, why they sound different. And I've got some ideas around that. Let me know what your ideas are. Give me comments below, okay? Now, one of the things, guys, this one came with this, okay? And I think this will put out some decent sound. This little Fosse up here, my buddy listened to that one, and it was impressive, but there's some things that we have to consider. The sensitivity, like this one has great sensitivity. 1 volt, you get full amplitude. Well, we're going to test that. But if you're trying to run your amplifier with an input device that can't fully get the power out, like it can't put, say, the 1 volt out, say it puts out half a volt, well, then you can't get all the power out of this. It sounds kind of weak. And so we ran into that case in my buddy's house with one of these other amplifiers, just did not have the power. Well, there's this preamp right here that you can solve that kind of thing with. It'll take a small signal to put out the big signal. But anyway, I'm going to come out with a spreadsheet, and we'll compare like input signal sensitivity, like how much voltage do you need at the input to get the full output range, and what is the full output range? How long can it do it without overheating? That kind of thing. So yeah, these power supplies have a lot to do with that, right? When they claim, say 600, 2 times 300 watts, 600 watts, but yeah, the power supply powering it can't do it. Well then, are there ways around that? Are there improvements, upgrades? Well, yes. I bought one of these big boys, okay? A little bit bigger, right? So this is a way to, we're going to talk about this in videos. I'm going to pull this out, and so I bought some other bricks like that. I've got some other power supplies. So I think this is going to be a fun series. I've got some ideas about how we can really truly compare these amps, because I think where a lot of people get so much value out of them and then some people don't. I think there's some reasons why, and so I want to try to be able to point those out so that when you're looking at these things, you'll know how to compare them. Say, oh well, my turntable that I'm going to power this guy up isn't going to get the power out unless I use maybe the preamp. So, or something like that. Like the Class D amp that I designed, well, that I modified, I increased the gain of the input so that we could get full power with the turntable output. And the turntable that my buddy has does have an amplifier, but it's not quite the same level as you really typically need. So that's one of those things we need to look at. People get caught up on distortion and those kind of numbers, where I think there's some other factors that are more important. Anyway, so I'm making this video long because it's one of the first ones where I'm getting excited. We're going to jump in this. You're going to see a lot of music t-shirts in this series. So hope you like it. Hope you're ready for it. And I'm hoping to get more freebies. I want to get the good stuff, right? Let me know what amps you know about. Like this brand, I didn't really know about this brand, but we're going to see how it tests out, okay? I like the packaging. I like what they do. I think we have the Aiyima out today. The Aiyima stuff has been kicking butt. I've watched a lot of reviews on that stuff, and I think there's ways that you can really, get the full capability out of one of these guys, and it'd be like breathing new life into an amplifier by maybe adding something like this, right? Now, a lot of people are going to be just happy with one of these, okay? So, and I got to say that this is a higher voltage, and we're going to talk about the voltage and current, and what's the, when the current is important, when the voltage is important. Sometimes you can have lots of current, but if you don't have the voltage, it's not going to do you any good. Or you can have the voltage and you don't need as much current. So I'm going to talk about that too when we come back and review this guy, okay? All right. Whew. Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Sorry it took so long. Give a thumbs up to the video. Free way to support the channel. You can buy me a beer if you want. Or a coffee cup, whatever. There's a little thing that YouTube had down there. One-time thing. Or you can become a member. Hit the member button. I got another member or two last month. That was awesome because it was flat for so long. I think I got 11 now, which is awesome. I think over 10, I can start doing anyway. So that's awesome. Thanks, guys. Danny, thanks for being a team member. You rock. You can become a team member too. Just depends on how much, you know, you add. Anyway, and then the Patreon link. That's down below too. All right, guys. Hey, thanks so much. And we'll catch you next time.